Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Inside the Program always brings the best inside info, but we bring it every day on this channel, and we bring it every day over on InsideTexas.com. Join today using our flash sale. Get $1. That'll get you 7 days of access and then 50% off for the rest of the year. No better time to do that with the A&M game coming up tomorrow, National Signing Day coming up next week, and who knows, maybe 4 or 5 more games after that. So great time to join. And Eric, as we go inside the program, last night on Thursday night, even though it was a holiday, the SEC doesn't take days off. They listed Quinn Ewers as probable on the injury report. He's really the only player on there that's not out for the season. All the guys like Derek Williams and CJ Baxter are on there. He's the only kind of active player, and he was listed as probable. What's the latest with him as he gets ready for this week of action and, another rivalry game, another road game, and another legacy game for him?
Yeah, it's been difficult tracking that one this week. There's been a lot of conflicting information that I've received. Somebody talked to somebody and heard that, and somebody talked to somebody else and heard this, and I got people coming out of the woodwork and asking me left and right and telling me what they've heard. So it's been a bit of a tough puzzle to put together. But we do know that Arch practiced a lot more than normal. But we also heard that Quinn had a very good practice on Thursday, so we do expect him to play. Typically, anybody that Sark puts as probable plays. I think anybody can realize and connect the dots here that he's probably not going to be 100%. The offensive line is going to have to play a tremendous game, help buy him time to find his receivers, help buy him time to move around. But I do expect Quinn to play. If he's hurt, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe there's a chance we'll see Arch. Arch played pretty well earlier in the week, we heard. Definitely got a lot more reps with the ones than typical. But right now it looks like it's Quinn's game. As one source put it, there's just no way they're going to put Arch starting in that atmosphere. It's just very it's hard to see that for sure.
Hey, you think of the cheers that come down from Texas fans whenever he's in the game. Imagine how amped up A&M fans would be when they see a redshirt freshman. So
yeah.
A lot going on there. But as you were able to put some notes on there, despite what we've seen with Quinn Ewers being what he is, and Sark electing to run 15 straight run plays in the fourth quarter against Kentucky. He's had good work this week from what you have been able to gather in.
Yeah, later in the week for sure. I think he was a little bit more limited earlier in the week. They had some good practices. There's no doubt about it. But Quinn was more limited than normal, and Arch was with the ones more than normal. But is that to get Arch ready, or is it to rest Ewers? Probably a little bit of both. But number one is to rest Ewers and just try to make sure he's as healthy as possible for this game. They've got a really good defensive line. He's going to have whatever movement skills he has available to him, and the offensive line is going to have to keep him clear. But he's not going to always have a clean pocket, so he's going to have to be able to move around. Right now, I don't. That's my biggest difficulty with trying to predict this game is how the quarterback is going to play. I have no clue. I don't think anybody does.
One of the things in these rivalry games with 110,000 people there, it gets the adrenaline pumping, and it gets the emotions pumping. And we like to hear Steve Sarkisian say, it's good to play with emotion, but you don't want to play emotional. And that's been a theme from what you've been able to gather this week for the Longhorns.
Yeah, they measure how well the guys are moving in practice. They got all these little, empirical data that they use to measure, how each guy is performing relative to previous weeks, where they are relative to 100% of their output previous. And this team is flying around. They are flying around, so they're definitely playing with an extra bounce in their step. Not just like it's not just anecdotal. They've measured it. So I think that's the right way to use the emotion is to use it to make you work hard, force you to work hard. You should use it as motivation throughout the week. Don't use it in the tunnel. You don't want to come out too hyped up, come out making a lot more mistakes than normal. Can't afford to have a lot of mental errors. Obviously, that's going to be an extremely intense environment. You don't want any pre-snap penalties. You don't want to be too hyped up. That's when you get, post-snap or post-whistle penalties and stuff like that. Use it to work hard. Use it to make sure you're maximizing your week of practice. And so far, based on what I've heard, that they are absolutely flying around in practice. It sounds like they used it the right way and used it the way that Sark wants them to use it.
We've heard Sark when asked about this. I remember back in May at that Touchdown Club of Houston, he was asked, "Will you be ready for this?" And he gave a very kind of wry smile, like, "Yeah, don't worry, we'll be ready." And even talking to some of the players this week and what they know about the rivalry, these kids were in grade school, maybe even kindergarten the last time this game was played. A lot of them have seen Kyle Field and, were part of intense recruiting battles. I think number 0 on defense is a great example of that between the two schools. But there's some level of the fact that these kids haven't played in this rivalry that I wonder if that tempers it. And then you have Steve Sarkisian trying to bring it out, be like, guys, this is a rivalry. This means a lot. I have boosters. I have friends. I have a lot of people in my ear telling me you better win this game on November 30th. And I wonder just kind of how that balance is. But so far, it feels like we've seen Steve Sarkisian handle that really well throughout his tenure.
Well, I don't think it's tempered at all because all these kids grew up with a bunch of Aggies. They've got friends that go to the schools. I remember, when Malik Jefferson was being recruited, his girlfriend was going to A&M. He wanted nothing more than to beat A&M, and he never got the chance to play them. These guys, like I said, their family, I've got Aggies in their families. A lot of the Texas players, their parents were Texas fans. Then you got Connor Stroh, the other side of it, offensive lineman. His parents were hardcore Aggies. They picked A&M they picked UT because Kyle Flood just recruited them with a whole lot more urgency. I've been thinking about them this week. But no, I don't. I think that these guys are really excited to play the game. 11, 12 years, whatever it is not all that long. And so this didn't really go quiet or dormant like the Arkansas rivalry. And again, proximity. So many of their classmates and friends, they come from towns that are split. And then I think there's a bit of a cultural difference that is alive and well, certainly in this country. Like, the two schools are pretty damn different. So it's a natural rivalry in a lot of ways. I don't think it's going to be tempered one bit. And if anything, I think that the time off is going to exacerbate it.
Speaking of that time off, if you all haven't yet, go to Inside Texas. Our guy RT Young, Skull Brother, if you know him by that nom de plume, put together the defining moments of the 13 years since Justin Tucker's kick went through the uprights. And I think it's a real good balanced look. It looks at the recruiting wins for both sides, the successful years for both sides, and then, of course, I think one of the more incendiary shots of taking Jim Schlossnagle. I know this is a football oriented ordeal right now, but nobody's going to forget about Texas swiping Texas A&M's head coach right after they played in the national championship series.
And they're honoring their baseball team. They're honoring their second place baseball team. Jim Schlossnagle coached. What are they doing? That is bizarre to me.
With the assistant coach that went to Texas with Schlossnagle, and then they realized, we need to keep these guys around and maybe have the number one team. That's neither here nor there because we got to get back on football. But before we do talk about some of the stakes in this game, got to give some love to our friend Andre the Lawyer. And LC, take it away.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
This game is an SEC championship semifinal, and I think that's what makes this so exciting. You think back to that game 11 years ago, you had somehow a number 25 ranked Texas team who I forgot they had to play RG3 the next week. That you have a team that wasn't that good, kind of in the doldrums of the Mac Brown era before it really started turning more south. Then you have Mike Sherman coaching his last game over on the Texas A&M sidelines. Just the stakes then were just bragging rights. Yeah. That's why Tucker's kick was important. But in the context of the 2011 season, that's got RG3 winning the Heisman, and I forget who won the Big 12 title that year. It may have been K-State. Not a whole lot, was attached to that game. Way different this year, considering two top 20 teams. You don't see Texas and Texas A&M be this good at the same time. Very rare for them to be in the top 20. And of course, the chance to get to Atlanta to play the Bulldogs again, but play for the SEC championship. I feel like from what you've heard, what you wrote on team notes on Inside Texas, Steve Sarkisian's laid out all that in front of the team and given that as a little bit of extra motivation.
Yeah, when we saw where it landed on the schedule and its rightful place this weekend, we knew it was going to be a big game, but you didn't know how big. We were confident Texas was going to be good this year. Obviously, they're in the playoffs last year, coming back with an even better team, at least on paper. So we expected Texas to be in this position. Didn't know what to make A&M with Mike Elko. There's always a lot of variables when you have a new staff come in, but they've had a pretty good year despite losing the last two SEC games. They've had a pretty good year. They don't want to leave this up into the hands of the playoff committee. They want to win. They're basically in, but that's not the right attitude to go in to the season. You go in wanting to win every single game, and I think that's what makes Sark so good. I wrote an article about it last weekend where Sark wants to win the SEC. Other coaches like Lane Kiffin are questioning, do we even need to play in that game? There's too much downside risk. Well, the downside risk is if you don't even make the game and you lose to who they lose to last week, Florida. So you don't want to leave it in anybody else's hands. You want to win the game. So they're coming in to win the game, not only to beat A&M, but to secure their place in the SEC championship game. And of course, they're competitors. They want another crack at Georgia. They know they didn't play their best at against Georgia, but they got whooped fair and square. They want a chance. They want another bite at the apple. But first things first, they got to get through A&M.
It's interesting how I think it was 95 and 96 the last time they won back-to-back conference titles. Southwest Conference, Big 12 championship. So chance to do that in 2023, 2024, Big 12 championship.
I think everybody won the Southwest Conference their last year, though. So that
was 94. I think even Rice had a share of it.
Okay, all right.
That. Some crazy like that. But Steve Sarkisian has a chance to do something really special, something that hadn't been done for almost 2 decades. So thank you for joining us on Inside the Program. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, head to InsideTexas.com. 7 days for just $1, then you'll get 50% off the rest of your first year. As a member, you get the best inside info on the team. Whatever postseason Texas plays in, we'll have all the updates for you there. And of course, National Signing Day right around the corner on Wednesday. So, Eric, thank you so much. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.